The Orange Farm family that's devastated after their 18-year-old son allegedly killed his little brother. A 3-year-old Abram Tswele was allegedly fed bread that was laced with poison, rat poison. This was a week ago. Let's speak now to clinical psychologist Dr Mosa Malema. Dr Malema, good afternoon to you, and thank you very much for your time. I'd like for you to just explain for us, without getting into the details. I'm going to explain to you what the parents have said to our journalist who visited the family today. But what could possibly trigger an 18-year-old to kill their 3-year-old brother?
Good evening, Polly. Thanks for having me. So what we know is there are several factors. It may not have to do with the victim being a family member, especially if the perpetrator or the sibling who murdered their sibling actually has some psychopathy. They would have had conduct problems, so they would have had behavioral problems earlier on. So in that case, it has nothing to do with whether the victim is family or not. Another thing could be if there is family conflict, and depending on how that teenager actually perceived the family conflict. Maybe there was conflict around siblings within the family. Yeah.
So you've touched the nail on the head, so to speak, because the father, as he sought to explain this behavior, he does say that there were warning signs that this 18-year-old has always shown aggression. If he wants something and he doesn't get it, he gets angry, and as a result, we were shown the windows of the house that are all smashed, and this is apparently part of what he would do when he doesn't get his way. Do you think that there were embedded mental health problems? And I'm saying embedded partly because the family tells us that he was also a drug user.
Most definitely. And it sounds like now there's a good link, you know, if he's been aggressive when he doesn't get his way at home. So there is a good link between his behavior and the seeking control, the aggression when he can't get his way, and the substances, and obviously the way that the family functions now. So perhaps he couldn't get his way with something that had to do either with parents or siblings, and then the motive could be different. Anyways, he could be motivated by substances, which is usually not acceptable, you know, as a reason for committing a murder in forensic psychology. Or he could be motivated by, especially someone with problematic behaviors from childhood. So it could be vengeance as well.
Yeah.
Especially with that anger and being prone to aggression or aggressive behavior.
The family telling us as well that he has been reported to the police, and unfortunately that wasn't much help, it would appear. Where would you, or how would a family be able to deal with such a situation before it gets completely out of hand, as in this particular case? Where would a teenager, because clearly this would have started long before, where do you seek help?
I think it goes back with noticing that something is wrong and not ignoring it. So he could have, you know, received help, although, again, it depends on what the issue is with the teenager. So if it's conduct disorder, it means that anyways, they were going to progress into antisocial behavior, which is what we know as psychopathy. But anyways, there could have been help that he receives. So in communities, you know, where there could be social workers, they can access them through schools, and then the social workers can actually decide from then on what path they take in terms of intervention. There could be referral to a psychologist, but mostly people don't start there, especially if there is no obvious problem. But when there's behavioral problems that manifest at home and at school, they can do that through the resources they have in the communities, and one of those is social work or social services.
Final question, Dr. Malema. The explanation given by the family as to the motive here is that when asked, why did you do this? His response was that this was my way of getting back at you, my parents, mother and father, I guess for not getting his way. And so the only way that he could exact the kind of anger and vengeance against his parents was to go after his little brother.
Yeah.
He's now 18 years old. The law, how is it likely to deal with him at that age? Because I would imagine 18 years is now an adult. You're dealing with an adult.
Yeah. So in terms of psychology, if he was younger than 18 years, he would have been institutionalized within the institutions we have in the social development. But at 18, he would be treated as an adult anyways.
Dr. Malema, thank you very much for at least trying to explain this kind of behavior, but a very tragic story indeed. Thanks indeed for your time.